California delegation and members of the committee. My name is Eugene Seroka. I am the Executive Director at the Port of Los Angeles, and dually I hold the position of Vice President of the California Association of Port Authorities. The Port of Los Angeles is the largest container port in the United States, moving more than 9.5 million container units per year and accounting for more than $300 billion in goods movement through our port complex. We support about 150,000 jobs in Los Angeles and more than 1.6 million in the country. Our gateway is the traditional move for cargo imported and exported to this nation through Asia and the Pacific Rim. About half of the cargo that comes through our port complex goes direct to consumers. The other half, in component form, goes to the manufacturing stream here in the United States. All combined, we reach each and every congressional district in the United States. This truly is a conversation of national significance when it comes to the Port of Los Angeles. The goods movement industry underpins what we are doing as an economy. 70% of consumer spend goes directly to our top line of GDP. And the ports industry supports 31 million jobs nationwide and approximately 26% of our country's GDP. We're looking for a consistent and sustainable stream of funding for our ports and harbors across the country, and the Harbor Maintenance Trust is a great place to start as we have a broader conversation about infrastructure in our nation. We're grateful to this committee and Congress for the work that has been done on water resources in 2014 and 2016, which greatly moved us forward in the conversation and realization of full spend. Today, I ask for 3 areas of consideration. First, full utilization of the harbor maintenance tax. Second, a fair and equitable allocation of those funds. And thirdly, limited but expanded use of these capabilities through the funds. And I'll take you through each one very quickly. On full utilization, this can get us to a place of continued investment not only by our country, but by others who will see trade increase and continued opportunity for investment in our ports and harbors. On fair and equitable allocation, for the first time in memory, and I've been in this industry more than 30 years, we have industry unanimity on this subject of the Harbor Maintenance Trust and how to allocate between so-called donor ports like Los Angeles that bring in the majority of this revenue, dredge ports that require this money to continue to combat silting and other areas to make sure their channels are deep, and the energy transport ports, which are so important to our nation's economy. Overall, the donor ports today, the top 6, bring in about 60%, or nearly half of all the revenue on the HMT side. Yet in return, we receive about 2% of those proceeds to work at our individual and local locations. With respect to limited expansion, because we are not a port that is continuing to work on the sedimentation effects on our main channel or making sure that we have a certain depth on a regular basis, we have other needs. Larger ships and the advent of that change in our industry requires us to do additional work in water alongside wharfs to fortify those areas and make sure they are strong to handle those larger ships. Looking at those limited possibilities for expansion would greatly drive our competitiveness and that of our nation. We have approximately $260 million in projects along those lines that are coming up quite swiftly in order to manage the changes in the industry. We also have a responsibility to maintain and improve our seismic requirements in Southern California. That also has an application in this discussion. I encourage the committee to look at the framework that has been put forward by the American Association of Port Authorities. And as mentioned, our industry is on the cusp of not only agreeing on how to move forward, but also recommending how we could put a framework together in concert with this committee and Congress at large. This hearing is timely, and the work that you are doing to support our industry is greatly appreciated. We're also happy to answer any questions you may have at the conclusion of the testimony. And thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Mr.